Okay, it is a little bit after 9 o'clock. We will call to order the Kent County Apportionment Commission, our meeting on October 20th. I think we've got everybody here, and I've gotten word that the live stream is up and running, which is what we're kind of waiting for. I guess our first order of business would be the approval of minutes from our last meeting. I'm assuming everybody got a copy of those. Do we have a motion to adopt?
I move to approve the minutes from the October 6th, 2021 meeting.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion, any amendments of the minutes that anybody thinks we need to make changes? Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So the motion passes.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Lyons?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I might, we put our agenda together just as we do every other agenda consistently. However, I just wanted to, I see there are some individuals, a couple individuals in the public, and I thought perhaps it might be appropriate to maybe move public comment up prior to new business. And so I would make a motion to amend the agenda to move public comment, to switch public comment and new business.
Great minds think alike. I was thinking the exact same thing, and even if we have, can move it up and have two public comments, even if we have one afterwards. I mean, we only have two people here, but.
So you support the motion?
So I support the motion. I guess, any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I guess we'll leave that open. Only a couple of you here, but anybody want to address any public comment before we discuss? Please step forward and identify yourself, and I think it's that one right there, the big one. Yep.
Morning. My name is Micah Perkins. I'm a Michigan Building Trades representative. First of all, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for taking your time to job here. An unusual process that nobody gets to do often. The comment I would like to make is that respect your decision and apps that you select have a long-term impact on the politics for the next decade.
Thank you, appreciate it. The fellow Cub fan in the back doesn't want to talk. Brave man to wear a Cub hat after a season like this, but I respect that. So, no other public comment. We will close public comment at this point in time. That would move us on to new business, would be a map amendments and adoption. I guess my plan would be to give kind of my lawyer and me closing arguments, if you will. If either side wants to, I mean, I know Mr. Saxon, you made some changes. I don't know if you want to address those and the reasons for them. And have you go first, and Mr. Verheulen, if you want to address anything after that. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, would it be appropriate to make a motion to accept the amendments to Mr. Saxton's plan so that we know that that's the plan we're referring to?
The new plan?
Yes.
I suppose. I don't know
If it's necessary.
I don't think we have formally adopted, amended
any
either one, so
Okay.
I mean, I think they're both out there, so.
Okay.
So, I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, I'm just throwing that out there in terms of, giving kind of last, this is where we're gonna kind of vote, so.
As long as we have an understanding.
Think that works for me? Sure.
Well, colleagues, I just have a couple of comments. In designing what I call the Verheulen map, I followed the statutory guidelines set forth in MCLA 46.404. Those guidelines are listed in the statute in the stated order of importance. The first and most important guideline is that the districts be nearly of equal population as possible. This guideline is premised on the one person, one vote concept, the bedrock of equal protection. It is no accident that this concept is the first and most important of the guidelines in the Michigan law. The plan I submitted provides a deviation of approximately 6.43. The Saxon plan is just shy of 11. The third guideline under the Michigan law is that the districts be as compact and as nearly square shape as practicable. Under both the REAC and Polly Popper analysis, both available on Dave's redistricting, my plan is more compact. The fourth guideline is to avoid combining townships and cities. My plan contains 5 such combinations, while the Saxon plan contains 6 such combinations. In a previous meeting, former Commissioner Talon encouraged us to try to keep neighborhood associations within the district. I'm happy to report that approximately 65% of the neighborhood associations in the Verheulen plan are within a single district, and approximately 30% have a majority of neighborhood associations within a single district. I believe the plan I submitted is the superior of the 2 plans submitted for consideration. It clearly is superior in the number 1 guideline of equal protection. It is more compact. It does a better job of avoiding township-city combinations. It creates 2 minority and majority districts, District number 20, which is Hispanic, and District number 17, which is African American. In applying the statutory guidelines, it is clearly superior, and I would respectfully request that it be adopted by this commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So to start, I want to address something that Mr. Verheulen said as far as criteria A. There is no such concept of superior when it comes to variance. According to the guidance that we received, I believe, from Council Linda Howell, I believe, states that a variance under 11.9% is considered acceptable when it comes to meeting this criteria. So there's no such concept of superior when it comes to variance. So according to the statute that governs county apportionment, obviously there's that list of criteria, and there are huge differences between how the Verheulen Plan and Saxton Plan B follows that statute. First, I already addressed criteria A, but one of the most important criteria we have is criteria E, of which the statute states that townships, villages, and cities shall be divided only if necessary to meet the population standard. The Verheulen Plan makes 10 municipal breaks in order to create its districts. In comparison, Saxton Plan B has 5. 5 is actually the minimum number of breaks possible, so the Verheulen Plan makes unnecessary breaks in violation of this statute. The second criteria to focus on is H in the statute. This criteria states that districts shall not be drawn to affect partisan political advantage. Now, the Campaign Legal Center is a nonpartisan organization that advances democracy through law at federal, state, and local levels. They have a website that performs analyses of apportionment plans. I entered the Verheulen Plan and Saxton Plan B into the website and found the following. Saxton Plan B has a partisan bias of 1.6% towards Republicans. The Verheulen Plan has a partisan bias of 5.5% towards Republicans, which means Republicans would win on average 5.5% extra seats and favor Republicans in 93% of predicted scenarios. It has over 3 times the bias of the Saxton Plan B. Also, according to the analysis, Saxton Plan B has an efficiency gap of just 1.1%, which means that votes for Republican candidates are expected to be inefficient at a rate of 1.1% lower than votes for Democratic candidates. The Verheulen Plan has an efficiency gap of 4.4%, which favors Republicans in 80% of predicted scenarios and is 4 times the gap of Saxton Plan B. So in conclusion, we cannot adopt a plan like the Verheulen Plan due to the unnecessary number of breaks it creates in municipalities and due to the extreme partisan bias it creates to advantage one political party. We have another plan in front of us, the Saxton Plan B, that better adheres to the law, and we are obligated to adopt it. Thank you.
I'll open up for discussion to the rest of our members.
Mr. Chair.
Gregor.
Yeah, I want to point out or make sure that it's clear, and maybe council can help us out, on the guidelines that are given in statute, that guideline A is much more important than guideline H, which is the 8th. Is that correct? Can you explain that a little bit better, how the courts look at that?
Yeah, no, that's correct. So courts will look at A above all else. That's by far the most important bedrock principle. And then it's by order of importance as you go down in the statute, down to H is at the very bottom. Yes, so it's A is by far the most important, H least important.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions from anybody, I guess? Throw it out right now. I see Miss Lyons smoke coming out of her ear, she's thinking, so I'm giving her a little extra time.
I might ask a question, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Hate to go through all that work and then not give you a
Right.
chance, so.
Could you reiterate, in the previous meeting, I was interested in what former Commissioner Jim Talon had to say, and I know you touched on it in your remarks, but could you go back to that and repeat that for me? Just, I think I've got 65% of the neighborhoods are in single districts, but I wanted to make sure we ran by that one more time for me.
Yeah, I took a look at, I think it was the Grand Valley State University's has an identification of the neighborhood association, so we didn't do a precise analysis, but just in rough numbers, 65% of the neighborhood associations that were identified all fall within a single district, which is a concern that former Commissioner Talon had raised. And then there was another roughly 30%, a majority of the neighborhood association was within a single district. So basically, the Verheulen plan does not divide the neighborhood associations, which was a concern expressed by the former commissioner.
Okay, thank you. And then, Mr. Saxton, can you, I didn't get the precise percentage of your population deviation in the Plan B. Is it 10 point what?
I don't have that specific number right now. That wasn't required when submitting. But again, it is below the guidance that we received from council, which is the 11.9% difference between the highest and the lowest. So it follows the exact obligation that we do have.
11.9. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I guess I'd move for, look at a vote at this point in time. I want to make a motion.
I move that we adopt Saxton Plan B for apportionment.
A second. Second, I think that motion would fail. Do we have any other motions?
Chairman, I move that we adopt the Verheulen plan.
Do we have a second to that?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. McGregor seconds. Further discussion on this?
I think the Verheulen plan and how Rob Verheulen laid it out, following the guidelines that are in statute in front of us of MCL 46404, and they're in order of importance, I think his plan is the better plan for Kent County.
Thank you. Ms. Lyons?
Yeah, I would just say, taking into account the order of importance, I echo what Treasurer McGregor stated.
I guess I'll kind of add on to that. I mean, I take a look at both plans and I appreciate both submissions, but when you're looking at it, as council has said, the number one thing to look at as a lawyer is A, all districts shall be single-member districts and nearly equal population is practicable. The deviations on the Saxon plan are, you look at 6.9, 6.5, 4.7, 3.9, 3.6 for each district. The highest deviation in the Verheulen plan is 3.17. It goes 3.17, 2.89, 2.87, 2.59, and 2.21. So it's a much more one person, one vote for each district. And, from what we heard from the public as well, I mean, I think, there's a number of people who, did not want to split up Plainfield Township. You decided not to split up Plainfield Township, I think in respect to those wishes, but then we also had some people that did not want to split up Gaines Township. And so we have two townships that were split up on different sides. But when you go back once again to the one person, one vote, I think we're closer to that proposal. And personally, I guess the one thing I did have, and I asked the question last time, is the District 4. I have a problem with District 4. I know it technically is, you said it was close in terms of the whole cornering aspect, but in terms of contiguous, which is the next thing down, all districts shall be contiguous. When you have Algoma and Cannon as a district, kind of bridged by Rockford, to me, it looks kind of funny, and I don't know if it meets the, maybe technically it does, but in terms of contiguous, it makes a lot more sense to put Cannon and Cortland in there together, because they are clearly contiguous, they're right up against each other, and I wanted to even look further into school districts. In Algoma, you've got Kent City, Sparta, and a small part of Rockford, where Cortland and Cannon do share school districts to some extent. And then you're putting in, even Cannon has some people in Lowell, so then you're creating a district that is Lowell and Kent City and Sparta in a school district. I know that's not part of the criteria, but when you're talking about commonalities, to me, District 4 kind of swung it when you look at Section B, the next criteria down. So, I mean, I don't think it's a difficult proposition either way, but that's kind of what swung me in favor of the Verheulen plan. So those are my comments. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything. All in favor of supporting the Verheulen motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So it looks like we adopt the Verheulen plan. We have another opportunity for public comment. Does anybody wish to address? We have a few new people showing up. Seeing none, I guess the next procedure, Ms. Lyons?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I just want to take a moment and thank both Mr. Sexton and Mr. Verheulen for submitting plans to this body for consideration. I do think both plans would and do comply with the state requirements. There are just certain things in the Verheulen plan that edged it out for me. But I also really want to thank the public who engaged in this process. I want to thank our staff who, at our direction, made this as transparent as possible by live streaming and setting up a specific website solely for the Apportionment Commission and an email address to receive and file correspondence. So this is, this is a important venture that we were on, and it has lasting impacts, and I just want to thank the public and this body for the deliberative work and for conducting it in such a manner that was a good example for public discourse.
Thank you. What's the next steps, I guess? We've adopted it, it's up to you now to kind of submit it?
By law, I'm required to submit our maps, our plans to the Secretary of State, and we will do so this week.
Okay.
As soon as possible. I think we have 10 days.
We're gonna have GIS, our county GIS will take the maps and plug them into their GIS system, and then we'll use that to print the documents that go to the state, and then also we'll have that for the county website and things like that.
Anything further?
Or
Anybody opposed? We are adjourned.